यस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकालाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Hello, I am Vijay Kapoor and I would like to announce a new course of a series of weekly classes that will start on Tuesday, May 4th, called the Vedantic Insights to Transform One's Life. Vedantic Insights. So, for the last 30 plus years, I have had the privilege of teaching within the Arsha Vidya Center here in San Francisco Bay Area various Vedantic texts, including most of the principal Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, many of the Prakarana Granthas such as Dakshinamurti Stotram, Drigdrishya Viveka, Vakya Vritti, etc. Also some sacred chants from the Vedas such as Rudram, and more recently the Purusha Suktam, and of course many Prakarana Granthas as well. So in all cases I have followed the footsteps of my Guru Swami Dayanandji, and in general most of the time I have followed the context of the text very faithfully. I have tried to complete it, may have fallen short here and there, but in general I have done so. Now, perhaps for the first time, I have resolved to follow a different format of classes and mainly focusing on Vedantic concepts and insights rather than sticking to a text. And so this is also based on the traditional method of teaching for the classes, and my Guru Swami Puja Swami Dayanandji followed this format towards the latter part of his teaching life, where he would have sections of the Bhagavad Gita or Chandogya Upanishad or Brihadaranyaka, etc., specifically for either a weekend retreat or even a 1 or 2 week retreat mostly in the Saylorsburg area. Similarly, Swami Paramarthananda has often resorted to teaching a topic conceptually rather than sticking to a text. We are seeing some of that in the way of teaching the Brahma Sutras, where each of the sutras is being conceptually defined and then backed up by by text reading from time to time. So we are doing that. Then it can also be seen that Swami Paramarthananda's teaching can also be seen in the form of Swami Maheshanandaji's teaching. And he follows a number of Prakarana Grantha, especially the Panchadashi, which I will follow also very faithfully in many cases. So Swami Vidyaranya, who is the author of Panchadashi, also follows the same concept, where he looks at it from an insight standpoint and brings in the references from the various texts to support that insight. So this is nothing starkly new, and it is really based on the fact that it should be taught to people who are already familiar with some of the basic texts, so that it's not a brand new thing for them. So in selecting these topics of this course, I will be guided with my own experience of learning. Swami Maheshananji has so beautifully pointed out that the study of Vedanta is like learning a new language in our life. So assume that you are, especially as an adult, you get immigrated to a country whose language you don't know. Let's assume that you got a very good job in France, but you don't know French very well. You can get by in the office by speaking English, but in order to feel comfortable in transacting, you now have to painstakingly go through all of the learning of the words, the verb, the grammar, the grammatical constructs and so on, vocabulary, one at a time. Until then, you are really not capable of transacting effortlessly with the society, which we do in our own natural language. But if you do that for a while, and by the way, that way of learning a language can be characterized as Shravanam of Vedanta. So the Shravanam of Vedanta means that you really go through an introduction of the basics of the Vedanta, just like you have vocabulary and you have grammar of a language, French language. Similarly here, you would have to figure out what Atma means, what Anatma means, what Brahman means, what Ishvara means, what Pratyaksha means, what Vyavaharika Sat means, all of those kinds of things you have to get familiar with. And at this point, you're really focusing on the language. At that point, once you do that for a while and you become adept at it, just like you get adept at French, now your focus is not on the language, but on the application of the language in transacting with others. And so this is exactly the same thing in Vedanta also. And in the case of Vedanta, we saw the example of French, where you can become very fluent in talking and participating in meetings, talking to people, buying, selling, etc. That's the application of the language, where the language is no longer your main concern. That's already been done. Now you just have to apply it towards other things. What is that in Vedanta? One can ask. What does he mean by an application of Shravanam, which could be called Mananam in this case? What does that really mean? I offer to you that what that means is to potentially transform your life in a way that was not possible before. That would be akin to learning a language and applying it. If you examine our lives, really speaking, life is a process where you get better at things. You improve your ability to maintain good health. You learn how to be successful in your job, and hopefully you translate that into a feeling of better security and happiness and so on. But if you really examine how much progress you can make in your life by these kinds of tools, it is not transformative. It is very rare. It does happen from time to time, some experiences for people that really changes their life dramatically. In general, it does not happen. Most of us would be very happy with improving our mind and our peacefulness by 30, 40, 50%. Even that is difficult to do. If we do that, I think we are pretty happy with it. what Vedanta does is to go much beyond that and to make progress which is truly transformative. And you know, in the Bhagavad Gita, as you know, the very famous statement which says, Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate. This is exactly what we are talking about, which says that yes, there are other pavitra examples where you can become purer, by purer becoming more happy. But there is nothing like knowledge of the self to transform you in a way that other life things cannot. Not possible. So this is what a focus on the concepts and insights can do. I look upon the various insights that one can gather from the study of Vedanta are like light bulbs that light up your mind in a very isolated, individualistic manner. Almost like having jigsaw puzzles that come together, and your mind, until it can put many of the jigsaw puzzles together, is still confused. But slowly it gets the picture, and in the process finally calms down and makes itself very happy and makes you happy. So I'm very happy that in this course the language of Vedanta can be put to use, and we will go into one insight at a time that have really worked for me to a certain extent. Our eventual goal is Jivan Mukti, but even before you get to that final stage, just a sufficient understanding of the various insights of Vedanta can lead you into a transformative life. This is just amazing. I could not imagine that I would be able to give up my hang-ups of life as much as I have been able to do just from the standpoint of study. It becomes very natural. And this is what our aim is in this Tuesday classes. And I think what we will do is, just to now summarize, we will not limit ourselves to a single topic or to a single text. This will be more like a flow, and we can be spontaneous and we can choose topics. Sometimes you can even suggest some, but I have a long list of things that I want to really focus on that have really impressed me. And many of them are really from Panchadashi, which itself is a great compendium of various insights from the various Upanishads. So we have lots of material to go through. We will do this in a flowing manner with no end in sight. I'm not promising that this will be end in 6 months. This class hopefully will go on as long as I have the capability of teaching, and as long as you are also interested in learning, we will go on. And so it is kind of like taking a dip in the Ganga. You can do it in Haridwar, you can take it in Gaya Prayag, you can take it any of the places, and until it reaches the ocean, it is nothing but partaking of the Vidya of Sri Ganga. So with that, these classes will all be streamed on YouTube, and of course be recorded. If you want to miss them or not, you can look at them later on. And I would even say that you are not making a commitment to attend all the classes. You may leave for a while and then decide to come back, and what we will find is that the topics are still similar, if not the same, and so you will pick up the thread from it from any time. The classes will start at 8 p.m. PST, West Coast time, and end at about 9:15, close to 9:15. And then we will have a 15 minutes question answer sessions on YouTube chat window. And occasionally we will resort to Zoom. I've been promising that for a while, but I think I need to get going, getting trained on managing Zoom. And then we can have an occasional satsang in which we can go into more depth using Zoom as well. So that's how it will be. I hope that you can participate, and if you have some friends that are also spiritually minded, please pass on this introduction to them. And I look forward to having, typically these new classes have attracted over 100 people from around the world, and I'm hoping that we also have a similarly large number that we can all study together on this very important series of topics. So with that, I invite you to register for the classes. You don't have to, but the advantage to you will be that if there are some unexpected changes in the schedule, I can send you an email ahead of time, and then you will be on the class roster, and occasionally I can send you some information about the supporting texts as well. But primarily the responsibility for finding texts will be yours. This will be a wide range of texts, so it will be difficult for me to really prescribe multiple texts as part of this class. So if you have any questions or if you want to register, please send me an email at vijaykapoor@gmail.com, vijaykapoor@gmail.com, and also visit our website arshavidyacenter.org. Arsha, A-R-S-H-A, Vidya, V-I-D-Y-A, Center, C-E-N-T-E-R, all one word, .org. So with that, I take your leave, and I hope to see you, many of you, if not all of you, on the 4th of May. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.